Hello, and welcome to Owning a Piece of America. I'm Faith Bautista. Happy Month of Love. We have Rick Hugh today that will talk about financial planning. Rick Hugh is the Wealth Financial Advisor, founder of Midas Wealth and Northwestern Mutual Firm. How did you become one of the best Asian financial planner in the United States?
In the 1970s, my parents came from communist China to America. They came to a country where they did not speak the English language. In the 1980s, they had me as their first and only child. And growing up, my parents told me to be three professions, to be a doctor, lawyer, and engineer. It wasn't professions that I was good at, nor did I have much of an interest, but I was really good at math. And when I went to school, I studied business, and ultimately I majored in finance.
So Rick, it's usually the case of being Asian, right? Our parents determine our career. You're going to be doctor, engineer, and here you are, financial planner. How did they accept that? And how did you prove to them that actually being a financial planner is good for not only me, but this is a life-changing career?
At first, I did not do well. My first 6 months as a financial advisor, as a financial planner, I failed. The reason why I struggled my first 6 months is because growing up, my parents said, do not look at people in the eyes when you speak to them. It's disrespectful. So when I started in financial planning, I was uncomfortable looking at people in their eyes. But in Western America, if you don't look at people in the eyes, you're dishonest. You're not confident. My parents said, do not speak up. While in America, if you don't speak up, you're passive. So after 6 months of failing in my profession, and I was put on probation, I only had 30 days left, I went home to my parents and they felt something was different. They said, son, is everything okay? I said, Dad, Mom, I don't think I could do this. My company's gonna terminate me because I'm probably one of the worst in the region. They said, son, you should quit. Asians do not need financial planning. Asian people do not need to learn financial literacy. We do not believe in some of the products, the services. We believe in saving money in cash, in real estate. Son, this industry is not right for you. It's not right for us. Quit. So those next 30 days, I said to my parents, Dad, Mom, I will quit. I will fail. But can I ask you for one small favor? What's that? Can I show you the type of work I do? Can I try to teach you what financial literacy, financial planning is all about? And they said yes, because they knew I was going to get fired. So I spent an hour teaching them about budgeting, teaching them about taxes, teaching them about retirement planning, and teaching them how to achieve financial independence. And they appreciated everything I taught them. So after I taught my parents what financial literacy, financial planning was all about, they finally became supportive. My parents got super excited and they said, you should talk to my friends. You should talk to my professional network. You should talk to other people we know. And that's how I made it in financial planning.
Wow, what a story. You're brave to challenge your parents, but good for you. So Rick, let's teach the viewers how to be financially educated. There's so many viewers, there's so many people that's still financially illiterate, right? So let's talk about where do we begin, how do you start, and what is the process?
Sure. So I think in order for us to really understand financial planning, financial literacy, we must understand the rules of the game. And by the game, I mean understanding the tax laws. In America, there are 7 tax brackets. There's a 10%, a 12%, 22%, 24%, 32%, 35%, and 37%. If we don't understand how taxes work, if we don't understand the difference between marginal tax rate, progressive tax rate, and effective tax rate, then what we earn, we won't understand what is it that we get to keep. So understanding tax laws is super important.
Tax laws, can you imagine how complicated that is for common citizens? How can they understand the tax law?
I often believe that in order to learn something, you can either seek it yourself by learning today in society. There's so much opportunity to go out there to learn, read, but also speaking to a professional that's a tax professional. There are many CPAs out there that are licensed, that are required to do continuing education to learn this. There are 3 types of funding expenses. there's what I call fixed expenses, food and necessities, food and shelter. There's what we call variable expenses, dining out, shopping, vacation, spending time with family and friends. And then finally, there are luxury expenses. It's frivolous spending that may or may not be necessary. Now, when it comes to budgeting, what I generally recommend people is understand the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of our income should generally be set aside for necessities. 30% should be set aside for variable. And the remaining 20% must be saved for our future. Studies show that if you don't save at least 20% of your income today, when you retire, you will not live the lifestyle you're currently living before retirement.
Stay tuned for more on Owning a Piece of America.
It's easy to say, save 20% of your money. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck and paycheck to Monday, how can you save that 20%?
That's a great question. Now, I think most people, and this is just mental mindset, there's a difference between abundance thinking and scarcity thinking. There's so many ways out there in society to generate further income. It's not about active income where you and I are working 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 for some professions. It's about passive income. As Warren Buffett says, if you don't make money while you sleep, you'll work till you die. So having people understand active versus passive income. Once we understand taxes, once we understand budgeting and cash flow, then next part is having an emergency fund. Now, the rule of thumb is always have 3 to 6 times your monthly expenses. Nothing is guaranteed in the future, but having 3 to 6 times rainy day expenses is extremely important. Now, that's just normal people. Now, if you're a business owner, our rule of thumb is 9 to 12 times. Because certain times, like business owners that had to shut down in 2020, they did not have the cash flow to go past 3 or 6 months. But once you have an emergency fund and you know what that number is, every dollar above it either can work for you or work against you. So as an Asian American growing up, I was always taught to work hard and save money. In fact, I did a great job. During my holidays, during the Lunar New Year, during the birthdays, my parents would give me, whether it's money gift or other gifts, and I would save it. I was hoarding it. To a point where I had a shoebox with a lot of red envelopes. But the problem was I was saving money, but I wasn't investing money. Why is that important? If cost of living goods are costing 7% on average more, but your money is growing on average 1%, your dollars will depreciate and you can't afford a certain lifestyle. So once you understand your budget, then you need to understand how much you should save for emergency fund, how much you should invest for short-term, mid-term, long-term financial future.
This is a great advice, but the problem is changing that behavior. All those things that you're saying are great and everyone should be doing that. But for some reason, they still don't know and they still don't know why. In your honest opinion, how do we change behavior?
By having humility and be willing to learn. By being a clean sheet of paper. So being an only child and my parents taught me the Eastern way, I was exactly like my parents. We are always going to be similar to the byproducts of our environment. My parents taught me scarcity mentality. Cash is king. Do not believe in the banking system. Do not believe in financial products. Now, in the beginning, I believed in them and I understood them. Most people turn to 2 types of people for advice. People they love and people that are experts. Unfortunately, the people they turn to more for advice are people they love.
I think also why people don't ask for professionals because they think, oh, I have to pay commission. How do you make them trust the expert and how they can get 2 or 3 advices?
I think many of our older generation Asians have a scarcity mindset and we have a choice of scarcity or abundance. People don't understand the difference between money and time. Money is a piece of paper, a currency that was human made. You're supposed to use it as an exchange for good or service. Me having all my money and letting it depreciate is inefficient. Now, today, I know that most people said, why would I want to work with a professional? I could do it myself. but they may or may not do it efficiently if they don't understand the time and value of money. It's almost like me when I was in high school. I used to cut my own hair. I used to shovel my own snow. I used to landscape my own lawn. But today I would not do that because we need to understand our worth, right?
Rick, this has really been fantastic. I'm encouraging every single one of the people watching, start saving. You'll never know it all. So thank you, Rick. This has been great, very informative, and God bless you.
Thank you, Faith. This has been extremely fun. Thank you for having me.
Our Yasmine Tanres is coming up, so don't go away.
Chinese New Year, also known as Lunar New Year or Spring Festival, is one of the most important celebrations amongst East and Southeast Asian cultures. Celebrations are typically held over multiple days when the first new moon of the year occurs until it becomes a full moon. Its history dates all the way back around 3,500 years ago. At first, sacrifices and ceremonies were held for gods. Over time, due to economic prosperity and cultural developments, food, family, and entertainment such as firecrackers and dragon dances were held during the lantern show at the end of the Lunar New Year. Along with its traditions of elders giving red envelopes filled with money to their children, or eating glutinous rice to symbolize togetherness, the New Year corresponds with one of the 12 zodiac animals, which many Asians read into as a form of foretelling their destiny. Its origins are theorized in many ways. This year marks the Year of the Rabbit, which is meant to instill new fortune, hope, and calm. I spoke with the CEO of the Chinatown Service Center, Peter Ng, to find out more about the festivities and what the CSC does for its community in Greater Los Angeles.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for your time and really talking to us about Chinese New Year. The celebrations are around here now. And so with that, how are you going to be celebrating Chinese New Year?
Well, most importantly is get together with the family, have a dinner on New Year's Eve, and then, of course, give lucky money to the kids.
So that is one beautiful tradition where, you see these red envelopes being passed around with money. So is that one of the traditions that you like to maintain, or are there any other traditions that you like to also put out there during this time?
Well, it's different from where it's back home. We would visit friends and relatives during the first week. But in the US, the custom kind of scaled down. So all we have to do is just to give the lucky money to our kids and maybe some really close relative, and that's it.
Okay, that's interesting. There is a bit of a difference between China and being here in the US. So are there any sort of traditions that you do wish there could be more of here in the US with that?
Well, we're lucky that this year the state has officially recognized Lunar New Year being an official holiday for the state. So we are very grateful that it's being recognized. Other than that, I think very important that we need to also, because the mainstream, everybody has to work, and being we are nonprofit, we have to stay open, be helpful to those that may be in need during any time of the year.
Yes, that is an interesting point, actually. Now that this has newly been recognized as a state holiday, what does that look like now then, here in California, in terms of having that as a holiday? Is everybody going to be taking off, or what's happening?
It all depends on who you work for. If the company recognizes that, they can certainly follow that. But not necessarily all the company or organization would do that. So we being Chinatown Service Center, so of course it's a tradition for us, so definitely it would be good that for us to adapt that holiday as well.
Well, of course, now leading into Chinatown Service Center then, what kind of celebrations are going to be happening during this time?
Well, we're going to have a day off for everybody. They don't have to work on Monday, even though Sunday is the New Year's Day, but everyone is going to get one day off on Monday. And then we're all going to stay home and enjoy the day. And then in Chinatown, we're going to have various different celebrations. And most importantly, the parade, the Golden Dragon Parade. It will be on January 28th. So we will be participating. When we do that, we have a youth department. Over 50 kids, they're going to be parading along the route.
Wow. Now, of course, Chinatown Service Center does provide a lot of services to the community. So leading with that in terms of the youth, what services do you provide here?
We have a wide range of services because we start out as a social service. So the first program that we ever had was job workforce, helping people find a job, helping people how to train them to apply for jobs, or even train them, teach them English, basic English, so they can be able to communicate. And then other than that, we have services that from infant to the elders. So it's a pretty large variety of services that we do. And besides that, we also have healthcare, meaning we have medical clinic, dental clinic, behavioral, optometries, just to make sure that you're healthy.
Don't go anywhere, as Peter Ng will share why the CSC is vital for the community and what led him to get involved.
Stay tuned for Yasmine Tanres, coming right up.
How long has the Chinatown Service Center been around for? What's its history?
Wow, this is our 52nd year.
Wow.
We established in 1971 from the church, just right about 500 feet from us, the Chinese United Methodist Church. Start out with one desk, one volunteer. That was 52 years ago.
How did you get involved with Chinatown Service Center?
Well, it's a long way because I'm an immigrant, so I came with my parents. My parents, just like many immigrants, they have no means of communicating because they don't know English. So my father, when he came, my father's a tailor, in fact, when back home, top-notch tailor.
Yeah.
So he has a very good skill set, but without knowing English, it's hard for him to find a job. So he can only work in a factory, a sewing factory, to help out and things like that. But by chance that he learned about at that time, the Chinatown Service Center offered a job training program. So he applied and was accepted. So they taught him English, and for about 3 months, while he was learning English, he got paid also. So after that, they even find him a job as a janitor. We're always grateful to what Chinatown do to my family, and this is my way of, I'm so glad that I'm involved. So I joined Chinatown Service Center as a board of director, as a volunteer, back about 15 years ago. Then after a few years, there was a need for someone to actually participate as a staff. So the board asked me to become the CEO. So I became the CEO.
You know, with that being said, I mean, through its evolution of its conception, and then of course, you know, what we've witnessed, kind of things to social media and the media out there where we can get a wider lens as to what really happens within the Asian community, you know, with Asian hate crimes and everything, you know. What's something that at present day do you notice that people within the community need the most help with?
I think currently, because we are in healthcare, so we find out that being healthy is important, and what is the factor that contributing to people that don't have good health is their mindset. Either it's economical or family issues or just anything, the job, the pressure, it really affects them, and it turns out that it affects their health too. We have a patient that comes in and complaining about discomfort, and turns out it's because of anxiety. So instead of giving them medication, we give them counseling. So I think currently most people started to recognize, even the government recognized that. So we are focusing a lot on this because if we can take care of that, there will be less violence, people would be more easier to accommodate each other and be in harmony and have a good life.
Mental health is really a big subject matter.
Yes, it is.
It is known amongst certain communities, like the Asian community, that it's not something really widely, spoken about, but I know that's something that is definitely on the rise. And to hear that you've even noticed within the Chinatown Service Center that is a big need, I mean, that's quite a change already within the culture itself as well.
Yes, most people are keeping it to themselves. Maybe something that you lost your loved one, so you would be very depressed, and that's understandable, very reasonable. But the best thing is to open up yourself, and sometimes if they don't, they would need some professional help, and that's where we are.
The entire service center has really accomplished so much. So talk to us a little bit more about some of the past efforts and accolades that it may have received as well.
Well, we are very grateful that being recognized by Congresswoman Judy Chu and also State Assemblyman Mike Fong, that selecting Chinatown Service Center as our the nonprofit organization of the year. So it's really a big boost for us because we honor. However, all the staff that we know, we do it. I always talking to everyone that we get a salary, but we're actually getting double that because we're helping people. Just that is a tremendous support for us, and on top of that, now that we get the recognition, I think it's really an honor, and I wanted to really appreciate the effort of the staff and also all the collaboration of other organizations, because we help each other out too.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for talking to us here today and for your great service.
Oh, thank you so much, Yasmine, for me to share this information with you.
Absolutely.
And Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, exactly!
Thank
The CSC has come a long way since its beginnings in the 1970s. If you wish to receive support or to volunteer, you can visit www.cscla.org or call 213-808-1700. Have a happy Lunar New Year, everyone.
Until next time, I'm Faith Bautista. Take your peace.